You guys are going to love this story. We have reports that Donald Trump's anger is out of control as his poll numbers keep cratering. And no, there is no ketchup on the wall this time, but as the days go on and as we receive more and more polling, we have more evidence that Donald Trump is losing his grip not only on the American people, but on the Republican Party. Republicans are leaving him. Women are fleeing. Black Americans are coming home to VP Harris. Christians and Jewish Americans are like, what is this guy on? And you know how mad it makes Donald Trump that VP Harris is fundraising historic amounts of money. Her and Tim Walz are holding these massive rallies where they are very charismatic and their chemistry is on point. And I think it is the crowd sizes. The crowds that VP Harris and Tim Walz have been polling are really getting under Donald Trump's skin, and we don't even have to speculate. He held a press conference the other day where he talked about crowd sizes for the vast majority of the press conference. It makes him so mad because he is an egomaniacal lunatic. He cares more about crowd sizes than actually helping the American people in a tangible way. According to a new report, Trump has gotten increasingly hard to manage as his campaign has floundered. And honestly, we can see this manifesting in public every single time he gives a speech, every single time he holds a press conference or talks to black journalists at the NABJ. You can see that something in his mind has snapped. I haven't seen him this unhinged since January 6th, and yeah, he is losing his mind. I really quickly want to cover this poll. Harris edges out Trump on who voters trust more with the economy, new poll finds. You know this one has Trump so mad because there is this new A+ poll that shows that voters trust VP Harris more on the economy than Donald Trump. Vice President Kamala Harris is narrowly ahead of Donald Trump on the number of voters who trust her handling of the economy, according to a new Financial Times Michigan Ross poll. The economy has remained a defining issue for voters who consistently cite inflation and the high cost of living as their top priority in national polls, and that's reasonable. It is reasonable for most people to be concerned about the cost of living. Harris is expected to release an official economic policy platform in the coming days. Cool. So while it's reasonable for most people to be concerned about the cost of living, I don't think it's reasonable for people to immediately blame President Biden when things aren't going perfectly, when inflation is a global phenomenon. The monthly survey found that 42% of voters trust Harris on economic issues, 1 percentage point more than Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. And that is wild because Donald Trump's bread and butter in his eyes is the economy. That is what he ran on. He is a businessman who knows how to get things done. But keep in mind, all of his economic accomplishments came off of the back of President Obama's recovery from the 2008 financial crisis. And all Donald Trump did was slash taxes for incredibly large corporations that are rich. I have friends that make $60K a year that are convinced that Donald Trump somehow slashed their taxes during his first term, and that is not how it works at all. But on to this article about Donald Trump lashing out at the world around him, as we've seen every time he's gone on camera over the past few weeks. I mean, every single time he's asked about JD Vance, he either says, well, the VP pick doesn't matter that much, or JD Vance is the weird one. They're mostly talking about JD Vance. It doesn't instill much confidence in his pick. Donald Trump's advisors are getting increasingly anxious about his flailing public appearances since the attempt on his life and Democrats' presidential candidate switcheroo, all while knowing he's unlikely to change his behavior. According to a new Axios report, Trump has grown increasingly chaotic in private as Kamala Harris has surpassed him in multiple polls, a lead that's only likely to grow after next week's Democratic National Convention. And this report also details how Donald Trump has been calling VP Harris a bitch. New New York Times polls on Saturday showed Harris leading Trump by 4 points in multiple key swing states, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Trump's anger over Democrats' resurgence was first apparent in a Times report on Friday, which noted that Trump repeatedly called Harris a bitch in private. He also had an aide text billionaire Miriam Adelson, one of Trump's wealthiest supporters and the funder of a super PAC Preserve America, to complain that the people in charge of the group were rhinos, Republicans in name only, according to the Times. And that is what happens when Donald Trump begins to melt down. He lashes out at the world around him, even people that are allies, somewhat allies. If they dissent, even in the slightest bit, he will call them rhinos. He will try to sick his MAGA supporters on them. Aides fear that Adelson, who was reportedly stunned by the outburst, may scale back her donations. So Donald Trump is officially snapping on donors, and that could be the downfall of his campaign. I mean, once you begin to snap on the people that give you the money, that allow you to run these ads, allow you to to hold these rallies, you begin to lose your grip. But Trump's advisors are also aware that they are unlikely to change a 78-year-old man known for his stubbornness. Therefore, they're focused, quote, not on the need for him to change, but on the need to adapt his message to win, a source told Axios. Quote, but he has to convince himself to leave the other garbage behind, the source continued. That is an understatement. It's not just garbage, it's wannabe dictator authoritarian rhetoric. Yeah, the deeply rattled advisors are also hoping he'll take on a hard-hitting stump speech that pushes a winning message. Good luck having him do that. Every single time he gives a speech, it's about Hannibal Lecter or sharks or just the most unhinged stuff. And they've invested tens of millions into TV ads and an ad blitz targeting states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Michigan. But at the same time, VP Harris is gaining ground rapidly, and I want to say that nothing is guaranteed. Even if I talk a lot about how VP Harris is gaining ground, she's fundraising money, she's doing great at these rallies, that doesn't mean anything is guaranteed, and we cannot be complacent like we were in 2016. Now is the time to double down, get out, vote. Make sure your friends and family are registered and have a plan to vote. You can door knock, you can donate, you can go to a VP Harris rally if it's near you, if you live in a swing state, and poll your apolitical friends and family there. There are so many ways to make your voice heard in our liberal democracy, and that's the beautiful part of America. I mean, even watching these videos, liking these videos, commenting in this community is a way to boost this pro-democracy message. That's what I like about Midas Touch so much. They built an amazing pro-democracy community. This Axios article I really quickly want to break down. Behind the curtain, inside Trump's slump. And just to summarize it, don't buy the public bravado. President Trump's advisors are deeply rattled by his meandering, mean, and often middling public performances since the failed assassination attempt. They're pleading with him to adopt a new, hard-hitting stump speech to define VP Harris as liberal and weak, advisors tell us, Axios, and praying he'll stop the recidivistic pull to simply improvise haphazardly. Why it matters. Trump, who looked and felt like a clear frontrunner heading into last month's Republican convention, that's an understatement. He absolutely was leading against President Biden, and I was not feeling too good about our odds to be 100% chance. Trump has fumed, stewed, and stumbled in private and public ever since the RNC. Advisors are telling him Harris will grow her lead coming out of the Democratic convention, which begins a week from tomorrow, especially if they don't define her better and faster. Then, just a week after the convention, it's already Labor Day, and people say that is when the polls begin to really matter, is after Labor Day weekend. So Donald Trump doesn't have much time to define Harris because she's rapidly defining herself. What we're hearing, Republican sources close to Trump tell us, he realizes he needs to bring new focus to a message that can be meandering and self-indulgent, but it's Trump, so a new script is often fictional wishfulness. Trump, quote, is struggling to get past his anger, a top Republican source tells us. If you guys love watching Trump meltdown, and if you guys enjoy the work that I do, all that I ask is that you leave a like, subscribe to this channel so you're part of the community, comment a blue heart, and interact with some people in the comment section. Most importantly, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.